Hello, welcome to Giants Tarot on September 29. 29 is a prime number. Haha. And at Giants Tarot, what we do is I just read you stuff. I read it to you, so it's we. I read to you, it's we, it's us. Okay. So the first reading for today is from Glenville, Kleiser. As usual, be loyal to the will of God. September 29. However long you may experiment independently, you will at length realize that you must harmonize your own will with the will of God. There is no other way to eternal truth and happiness. It is exceedingly difficult for some men to conform strictly to God's laws, though they know that his ways are necessarily best. Human perversity insists upon trying its own ways first, and then, when it ignobly fails, turns to God and his divinely ordered laws as the only means of salvation and contentment. To conform to God's laws is an indication of strength and intelligence. True power and freedom come not through defiance of divine laws, but by willing obedience to them. Be loyal at heart to the will of God, and you can never go astray. The Theosophical Society's reading for the 29th of September is, every Western Theosophist should learn and remember, especially those of them who would be our followers, that in our brotherhood all personalities sink into one idea, abstract right and absolute practical justice for all. From the birthday book for the 29th of September, this is the birthday of those who can evolve convincing arguments to suit almost any type of intelligence. It produces the good mixer and boon companion, where's my magnifying glass, boon companion, in all walks of life. A temperament of this kind has full scope in such occupations as commercial traveller, propagandist, or political speaker. Good humour breeds every acquaintanceship, but real friends may be few. Such a nature needs a courageous partner. This is a long reading for today. I'll read it all out. From 365 Things to Know. Who discovered electricity? Electricity, the name of which comes from the Greek word for amber, was first properly studied by Dr. William Gilbert, the physician of Queen Elizabeth I. Though Dr. Gilbert made many discoveries about the properties of electricity, neither he nor any other single man can be said to have discovered it. Many people from ancient times to the present day have each found out a little more about its nature and discovered ways in which it can be used. Electricity was known to the women of ancient Syria, whose distaffs of amber became charged with it as they spun thread for their looms. This was the same kind of magnetic electricity that you can produce by running a plastic comb through your hair. The old Chinese knew about the magnetic properties of lodestone. Two early Greek thinkers, Thales and Theophrastus, who lived respectively 500 and 300 years before Christ, studied the magnetic properties of amber. Aristotle, 384 to 322 BC, studied the powers of a fish, probably the electric catfish, which, like the electric eel, was able to stun other creatures with a powerful shock. 70 years after Christ, the Roman writer Pliny was investigating the electricity in amber. An Englishman named Robert Boyle, 1627 to 1691, discovered that electricity could be stored. A German scientist named Otto von Guericke, who lived in the same time as Boyle, made the first electric lamp by spinning a ball of sulphur and rubbing it with his hand, the friction of the hand causing the sulphur to glow in the dark. After that, many men each discovered a little more. Sir Isaac Newton, 1642 to 1727, the man who discovered gravity, used a glass rod to pick up bits of paper. Francis Hawksby, in the early 1700s showed how electric sparks resembled lightning. At the same time, Stephen Gray was discovering that some materials conduct electricity whilst others do not. In the 18th century, discoveries were made in fast succession. In Holland, a professor called Muschenberg made the Leyden jar, in which a strong charge of electricity could be built up. This invention was improved upon by an English scientist, Sir William Watson, who also proved that electricity travels so fast as to be instantaneous in its action. In 1752, an American, Benjamin Franklin, proved that lightning is electricity by bringing down from the sky along a string of a kite. John Canton, born 1718, made artificial magnets. Robert Seymour discovered the positive and the negative properties of electricity. Henry Cavendish, 1731 to 1810, showed that iron wire was an excellent conductor of electricity, and by electrifying oxygen and hydrogen, turned the two gases into water. While Cavendish was doing this in England, two Italian scientists, Luigi Galvani and Alessandro Volta, were also working hard. Volta, from whose name we get volt, made the first electric battery. Galvani, hence galvanize, investigated electric current after finding that dead frogs would kick when touched by an electric contact. Sir Humphrey Davy, 1778 to 1829, made the electric arc lamp, forerunner of our modern electric lamps. Davy's assistant, Michael Faraday, 1791 to 1867, invented the electric dynamo. James Clerk Maxwell followed Faraday and made discoveries which helped Marconi develop wireless telegraphy. Thomas Alva Edison, together with Joseph Wilson Swan, invented the modern electric lamp, so the list goes on, right up to the present moment, and it will keep going on for many years yet, for the story of electricity is by no means ended. Well, there's a couple of names they didn't mention in there, but we'll just gloss over that. So we'll look at number 29. The mission for 29, a very strong number and birthday. 11 is a master number and it's a prime number. Can be prosperous day if properly used. Is an extremist, either joyful or depressed. Must learn to straighten out one's path and help others to do theirs. Can be so absorbed in dreams, ideals, worries that fails to see others around them. Should seek a definite to keep self calm and well balanced. A definite, I don't know. Can be inspirational, so could turn to religion. Could prefer casual friends to a few intimate ones. The angel number 29 is a sign from your angels that your sole purpose is to serve others with humility and great caring. Okay, so there's a bit of a pattern emerging with all of this. I can just see it. We are talking here of a Libra Division 2. A Libra 2 is the right person to have around in an emergency. With your amazing quick mind and cool thinking, you grasp a situation immediately and reach the right decisions in seconds rather than minutes. While others are still exclaiming over a piece of news, you've already formulated a response to it. You waste little time in emotional reactions and prefer to do what you can rather than worry about what you cannot. The Apostle Bartholomew's love of knowledge is deeply ingrained in you, and this helps you to cope with surprises and crises. Because you make a point of knowing in advance about a great many subjects, you know ahead of time what should be done in a given situation. When it arises, your course of action is invariably the most prudent and expeditious. You have been gifted in other ways too. You are able to inspire others, dedicated, diplomatic, and good-natured. We, as the sun remains in Libra, we are looking at the Major Arcana card, Justice. Justice transforms lives. well-being is dependent on the well-being of others. The first decanate of Libra is the Two of Swords, and making choices and acting upon them requires the human being, which is a third-party naming of each and every one of us, to perform more than mental gymnastics. And the sooner we involve other of our sentient being abilities in finding the best way forward, the better. Okay, the Eight of Hearts, which is the Cartomancy for today. The vertical number 8 is an important symbol with meanings dependent on whether the top loop is smaller or larger, or the same the top loop is smaller or larger or the same size as the bottom loop. If the top loop is larger than the bottom loop, the symbol mirrors God above earth and man. If the bottom loop is larger, man is in lack of humility to God. If both loops are the same size, there is some harmony. And if both loops are the same size, we can tip the symbol over horizontally and it becomes a lemniscate, which is the symbol for infinity. Also, repeated horizontal lemniscates create wave patterns, like on electronic screens. And wave patterns vary according to whether the wave pattern is perhaps microwave or a heartbeat on the anaesthetist's monitor during surgery. Have I lost you? Whether such poetic and creative ideas confuse or enlighten you, the number 8 just became multidimensional, didn't it? The Eight of Hearts, dealing in the fluid currency of love, feels empowered to take charge, as all eights do. Relationships, associations, groups are the coalface of life, and the Eight of Hearts mines the rock of love with all the spiritual and psychological tools available. For the Eight of Hearts, gung-ho is the way to go in both love and work, and willpower is applied with gusto in the name of loving service for self, others, or the great embracing spirit. Looking above for guidance and finding the Seven of Spades could feel disconcerting. Fluid, powerful love encounters labour and wisdom, bearing the insignia of 7. Hang on, it's not all multidimensional and free-flowing after all, really. There's a lot to think about. The one thing both cards do share is a worry that there will not be enough to dispense around. But both cards are profoundly marked by Jupiter, so lack befalls neither of them. The Seven of Spades constantly reminds the Eight of Hearts not to overdo love or work. 7 demands that difficulties may be overcome with analysis and recognition of the depths, griefs, and journeys of others. The Eight of Hearts must temper its love power and learn to apply love's balm with care as required, as needed, to the multiple relationships, associations, and groups they encounter. Then the Eight of Hearts begins to find the success it so earnestly seeks. Being so strong, the Eight of Hearts feels a call to leadership. 8 is great. Dealing with many people is their calling. They feel their ability to achieve much and set out to do so. Developing labour and wisdom scholarship will allow their enormous multidimensional love to flow at a lower temperature, be less volatile. Steady wins the race. The Seven of Spades knows that, and the Eight of Hearts goes farther, deeper, better, using economy in energising its space and time on earth, making its decisions, creating its dreams, fostering what it considers to be important, and working to build a life with meaning. The reading for today's Eight of Hearts, September 29. Art, merchandising, and politics, in brackets law, are the main fields of success, are nervous and tense, work better if married or in partnership. For happiness should forget self and work for others, apt to brood over their own misfortunes, hate any form of menial work and are unhappy if forced into it, may need a good psychoanalyst to help them achieve impersonality, stimulated by appreciation and congenial surroundings, have inspirational powers but do not always know how to use it. And the Lenormand card for today is number 32, which is the Moon. The Moon card is connected to your emotions and feelings. It relates to dreams, fantasies, creativity, and your imagination. It is associated with seduction and romance. In career, the Moon usually indicates you'll receive praise and recognition, but the benefits should be tangible. It can indicate receiving your dream job or other professional success. This card can even reference your resume and how well you do in interviews. In terms of a job, the Moon often represents artists, creative fields, psychics, and psychiatrists. In health, the Moon card involves emotions and hormones. It can refer to mood swings and emotion and hormonal imbalances. There you go. That's it. Bit of an interesting one for the 29th of September. I'll go and get a cup of tea and I'll see you tomorrow. Have a great day. Be the giant you want to see.